You know that feeling when you walk into a dark room and automatically reach for a light switch that just isn't there anymore?
Oh, yeah? Like when you rearrange the furniture and your brain just hasn't caught up yet?
Exactly. That phantom reflex where your hand just kind of moves entirely on its own.
Hmm.
Well, we are all experiencing a digital version of that exact phenomenon right now, and every single day.
And most of us haven't even registered that it's happening.
Right, you have your phone in your hand, you need a piece of information, and for a split second, your thumb hovers right over the search bar. But
Oh,
then
pause.
you pause, and instead of typing keywords into a search engine, you open a chat app and just, ask an AI. Welcome to a new deep dive. Today we're looking at a fascinating stack of research. We've got user studies, tech essays, data on creator economics.
It's a very comprehensive look at a massive shift.
Yeah, and it all points to the death of traditional search. So our mission today is to unpack exactly why our brains so strongly prefer chatting with an AI over, actually searching the web.
We're going to look at the hidden mechanisms that make these new tools feel so magical.
And what happens to the open internet when we all just stop clicking links? Plus, how you can navigate this new era without, well, losing your ability to think critically.
Because, to be clear, the danger here isn't some sci-fi apocalypse where the machines take over the world.
Right, no Terminators today.
No Terminators. The danger is actually a fundamental, almost invisible trade-off of cognitive skills. We are essentially trading one deeply ingrained method of interacting with human knowledge for another.
And the cost of that trade is being hidden behind a very slick, very pleasant user interface. I mean, think about it. Breaking a habit you've had for 20 years shouldn't be easy.
It really shouldn't.
If you're a relatively heavy internet user, you've likely performed somewhere around 100,000 discrete searches since the early 2000s.
100,000.
Yeah, and 100,000 repetitions of any physical or mental action, that burns a motor pattern deep into your nervous system.
Wow.
In the tech industry, they actually refer to this as a habit mode. A habit mode. I like that.
Yeah, it's this enormous defensive barrier for traditional search engines because you don't consciously decide to open a browser and type into a search bar anymore. Your nervous system just executes the script.
Right, it's pure muscle memory.
Exactly. And that kind of muscle memory is why this transition isn't just happening overnight. It's more of a gradual erosion.
And you can actually see this habit breaking in real time, which is wild. Like, the Nielsen Norman group recently put ordinary people in a lab just to observe how they look things up.
Mm.
And they noticed this strange split-screen behavior.
Yes. Participants would almost universally default to traditional search first
Yeah,
because of that muscle memory.
right.
But then for very specific types of tasks, they would abandon the search engine, kind of peel off and open a chat interface instead.
There was one anecdote in that study that I thought perfectly captured this. So a guy was asked to look up the dimensions of a regulation-sized football goal.
A very standard trivia question.
Right. Very standard. So he immediately defaults to a search engine. He clicks around, looks at different sporting goods sites, compares some diagrams. Basically the whole traditional dance we all know how to do.
We've all done it a
Million times.
Exactly. But then his next task was completely different. He needed to diagnose a hypothetical plumbing leak in his house. And this time, the researchers kind of nudged him toward using an AI chat, like Gemini.
Right.
So he describes the leak in plain English, has this back and forth conversation, and gets step-by-step diagnostic instructions. And at the end of it, he leans back and literally says, "Man, I should have come to this when I was looking for the football goals."
See, that realization right there,
Yeah.
that is the habit moat drying up.
Wow, yeah.
He discovered, purely through experience, that there is this whole class of questions for which a conversational interface just feels like a vastly superior front door to the internet.
It's like, okay, imagine walking a well-worn path in the woods, completely blindfolded. You've walked it 100,000 times. You know exactly where to step to avoid the roots and the mud.
Right. But suddenly, one day, there's a freshly paved, perfectly smooth road running right alongside your bumpy dirt path. I mean, if our 20-year habit is so deeply ingrained, what exactly makes this new paved road so irresistible that we're willing to break our muscle memory for it?
Well, to understand why we're so eager to step onto that paved road, we really have to look at the psychology of the interface itself. Because there are 5 distinct experiential advantages that chat offers over your standard search results page.
Okay, let's hear them.
So the first one is the return to natural language, or more accurately, the end of keywordese.
Oh man, keywordese. The mental gymnastics of turning a perfectly normal human thought into caveman speak.
It really is.
Like if I want to know how to handle a situation at the office, I don't ask the search engine, hey, how do I politely tell my coworker her perfume's giving me a headache? No, I strip out all the grammar and type coworker perfume, strong, polite, ask HR.
Exactly. It sounds ridiculous when you actually say it out loud.
It really does.
Hmm.
But we've all just become completely fluent in it.
We have. And that translation process, taking a complex human intent and sort of reverse engineering it into the nouns a search algorithm wants to see, that is a cognitive tax.
A cognitive tax.
Yeah. You've paid it so often that you don't even feel it anymore, but it is mental work.
Yeah.
And the chat interface entirely removes that tax. You just type the thought exactly as it exists in your head.
Which naturally leads to the second advantage they mentioned, which is the ability to actually have a conversation. Because traditional search has the memory of a goldfish.
A very forgetful goldfish.
Right.
Yeah.
Every single query is a blank slate. If you search for, like, best Italian restaurants, and then your very next search is which ones have outdoor seating, the search engine has absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. It just gives you articles about patio furniture. But the AI chat, on the other hand, it carries your context. You can zigzag through a topic, you can ask for clarifications, demand examples, change your constraints halfway through the task.
Which is how humans actually talk.
Right. That iterative back and forth mirrors how human thinking actually develops. It's fluid.
And then the third reason is something I think we all desperately want, which is just a direct answer. I mean, I don't think anyone is going to mourn the days of clicking a link, accepting the privacy cookies, swatting away a newsletter pop-up.
And the video ad that automatically plays in the corner.
The worst. And then scrolling past a 3,000-word backstory about a food blogger's childhood summers in Tuscany, all just to find out how much baking powder goes into the biscuits.
Right. The compression of time from your initial intent to your actual gratification, it shrinks from minutes to milliseconds.
It really does.
You aren't hunting for the answer inside a document anymore. The answer is extracted and just handed directly to you.
Then there's the fourth reason, which I actually found surprisingly poignant in the research. They point out that chat interfaces remove the friction of embarrassment.
Yes, this is a very powerful psychological driver.
Because you can ask an AI a wildly basic, quote-unquote, dumb question about your profession, or a historical event, or a weird personal health issue without any of the social friction of asking a human colleague.
Exactly. And crucially, you also avoid the intellectual intimidation of a search engine.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you search a complex topic on a traditional engine, the top results are often highly technical Wikipedia articles or dense academic papers that honestly just make you feel even more lost.
Oh, absolutely. You feel like you need a PhD just to read the summary.
Right. But the AI adjusts to your level of understanding. You can literally say, hey, explain this to me like I'm a golden retriever, and it will.
Okay, that is amazing. Now, the fifth reason is the one that really made things click for me. And it's just the tone.
The tone of the interface.
Yeah. The modern search results page is visually exhausting. It's just screaming for your attention. You've got sponsored ads masquerading as real results, video carousels, but also ask drop-downs, shopping tiles everywhere.
It's extremely loud.
But the chat interface is just a blinking cursor in a quiet text box. It's incredibly calm.
It is a far more peaceful environment. But I want to highlight something crucial here about these 5 factors. The natural language, the memory, the direct answers, the lack of embarrassment, and the calm tone.
Wait, let me stop you right there, actually, because looking at that list, I'm realizing something.
What's that?
Well, none of those 5 things have anything to do with the AI actually being definitively smarter or more truthful than a search engine.
Right.
So we aren't actually switching because it's a better source of truth. We're switching mostly because it's just a less annoying, more peaceful user experience.
That is the pivotal insight of this entire migration. We are trading friction for smoothness.
Wow.
The vibe is just better. We vastly prefer the frictionless experience, but that very smoothness, while wonderful for you sitting on your couch in the moment, is quietly and structurally destroying the architecture of the open web.
Yeah, because we all grew up on the 10 blue links.
Yeah.
That clean, democratic list of organic search results.
Yes, the foundation of the internet.
But now, you need a shovel to find an organic link buried under the AI summaries and all the sponsored content The 10 blue links are practically extinct.
And the behavioral data really confirms this. A 2025 Pew Research study observed that when an AI overview or chat response appears at the top of a page, users are overwhelmingly less likely to scroll down and click on any of the traditional search
Which
results.
makes sense if you already got the answer.
Exactly. But even more devastating for web creators, users rarely click the citation links embedded inside those AI summaries either.
Oh, wow.
The AI isn't acting as a stepping stone to the broader web anymore. It has become the final destination.
And the human cost of this is honestly pretty staggering. There's a story in the research about a woman who spent 15 years building the definitive website for a very obscure hobby.
A real labor of love.
Absolute passion project. And she funded her time through modest ad revenue and some affiliate links. But by 2025, her traffic and her revenue had plummeted by 65%.
Because of the AI overviews.
Exactly. The AI was crawling her site, taking her carefully researched, lovingly written answers, synthesizing them, and just serving them directly to the user in a chat window.
So the user gets the answer instantly.
But the creator is completely starved of the traffic she needed to survive.
It is the slow strangulation of the amateur web. I mean, the open internet used to function as this massive digital commons. It was a distributed library created largely by passionate hobbyists, independent journalists, niche experts.
Right.
And the unwritten social contract was that the search engine would direct traffic to them, and that traffic would pay their server bills and sort of reward their labor.
It's an Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its own tail.
It really is.
Because the dark irony here is that the AI desperately needs these passionate human amateurs to keep researching and writing, so its models have fresh, accurate data to learn from. But the AI's very existence destroys the economic incentive for those amateurs to publish anything in the first place. Like, if that hobbyist has to shut down her site because she goes broke, the AI has absolutely nothing new to read tomorrow.
Exactly.
Which means next year, when you ask a question, you're getting outdated info, or worse, entirely synthetic garbage.
That is the unstable loop at the very heart of this technology. If the independent writers disappear, the AI models will increasingly be forced to train on, corporate marketing copy, SEO spam, or literally just the outputs of other AIs.
Which sounds like a nightmare.
It is, but the tragedy isn't just limited to web creators losing their livelihoods. No, because you, the user, because you are no longer clicking those blue links, exploring different sites, and comparing information, you are actively losing a vital cognitive skill. The research actually refers to this as the lost art of sifting.
Sifting. Good. This is that unconscious split-second judgment call we all developed.
That's the one.
Like, you click a link, the site has this weird 2014 WordPress theme, the URL looks slightly off, and there are 8 pop-up ads for crypto.
And what do?
You immediately hit the back button. It was a digital survival instinct. You evaluated the source, the tone, the design, and you judged its legitimacy completely on the fly.
You did it constantly. You were acting as your own editor.
Right.
But when an AI simply hands you a beautifully formatted, grammatically flawless paragraph, the need to sift is completely removed. And the deepest danger highlighted in these sources isn't just that AI models occasionally hallucinate or make up facts.
Which they do.
They do, but the far more insidious danger is a concept called smoothness.
Okay, tell me how smoothness actually works under the hood.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people just assume the AI is retrieving facts from some giant database.
Right.
How does it get so falsely confident?
Right, so it comes down to how these models are trained, specifically a process called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. Essentially, during development, human raters are asked to grade the AI's varied responses to a prompt. And human psychology, as we know, is deeply flawed.
Shocker.
Right. As evaluators, we unconsciously give really high grades to answers that sound authoritative, confident, and settled. And we naturally penalize answers that are hesitant, nuanced, or full of, it depends, and experts disagree.
Wait, so the AI is literally being trained to sound like a know-it-all because that's what we reward it for?
Precisely. The system learns to prioritize the grammar of authority over the messy reality of the underlying knowledge.
The grammar of authority.
Yes. Smoothness is the property of an AI answer that makes a topic feel completely resolved, even when the subject is incredibly uncertain, partial, or fiercely debated in the real world. The AI structurally flattens facts, interpretations, opinions, and wild guesses into one uniform, confident tone.
The examples in the research really made this click for me. Like if you ask an AI chat about the causes of World War I, it will generate this perfectly neat, bulleted paragraph about alliances and the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand.
That's right. Very clean.
Super clean. But it entirely masks the fact that historians have spent over a century viciously debating how to actually weigh those different causes.
Exactly.
Or if you ask it about intermittent fasting, you get a highly balanced, definitive-sounding summary
Yeah.
that completely hides the massive scientific uncertainty, the flawed studies, and the methodological debates happening right now in the nutrition world.
It gives you the illusion of consensus where absolutely none exists.
It's like getting all your news from one impossibly calm, incredibly confident friend who absolutely refuses to admit that anyone else in the world disagrees with them.
Yes, that is the perfect analogy.
And they are so soothing that you just, you stop questioning them. I mean, think about your own habits for a second. When was the last time you actually clicked the tiny little citation numbers at the bottom of an AI's response to check its sources?
Most people never do.
Right. For most of us, our sifting muscles are atrophying.
Yeah.
But we at least remember how to sift.
Which brings us to the most profound societal shift detailed in this research.
What happens to a human mind that never develops this sifting muscle in the first place?
Exactly. We are witnessing a generational rewiring of how human beings relate to information and authority.
Because we've gone through three distinct phases now. Pre-internet, authority was institutional. You went to a physical library. You trusted the Encyclopedia Britannica because it was a vetted institution.
Right.
Then, in the search engine era, authority became distributed. You had to evaluate dozens of competing websites and basically build your own consensus. You were the arbiter of truth.
And now, in the AI era, authority is synthesized. It's completely invisible.
And the research highlights two striking examples of this new default setting in children. There's this anecdote about a 10-year-old girl just walking around her house, casually asking her iPad if microscopic tardigrades are actually alive.
She is treating the air itself like an omniscient encyclopedia.
Yeah, she has never known a world where the room couldn't just answer her questions.
And then there's the story of the 8-year-old student researching cheetahs for a school project.
Oh, this one is so telling.
Right. Her teacher hands out a worksheet with specific instructions to use the school library books and a list of approved educational websites. And the kid just looks up and asks, "Can I just ask the AI?"
With this expression of pure, polite bafflement.
Exactly.
Like the teacher was suddenly demanding she churn her own butter for lunch.
To that child, the traditional process of finding a book, looking at
Yeah.
the index, locating the page, extracting the
Yeah,
fact.
I've researched her.
No, it's just pointless friction. Because the machine already knows the answer.
Okay, hold on, though. I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Every time a new technology drops, we panic and claim our brains are rotting. Like, I vividly remember my math teachers swearing that using calculators would permanently destroy my mind.
We all heard that one.
Right, and I turned out fine. So why is outsourcing our information gathering to an AI any different than outsourcing long division to a Texas Instruments calculator? Aren't we just automating the boring stuff so we can think about higher-level concepts?
It's a very common comparison, and it makes sense on the surface, but it misses a critical distinction.
Okay, what is it?
Mathematics is deterministic. There is a single, objectively correct answer to a long division problem. Outsourcing that mechanical calculation does indeed free your cognitive load to focus on higher-level algebraic concepts.
Right, because 5 times 5 is always 25.
Exactly. But evaluating truth-parsing human history, medical science, political events, or social dynamics, that is not a mechanical task. It is highly interpretive.
Because truth in those areas is rarely just a solved equation.
Exactly. When you outsource the evaluation of complex information to an opaque system, you are not freeing your mind. You are bounding your mind within the parameters, the biases, and the training data set by that specific model.
Oh, wow.
The skill of telling signal from noise, of spotting emotional manipulation, of understanding that two completely reasonable people can look at the exact same set of facts and reach entirely different conclusions.
That's the core requirement of being an independent thinker.
Yes, you cannot automate critical thinking without losing your intellectual autonomy.
Okay, that is extremely sobering. Because the reality is we cannot ban this technology. It is far too useful.
No, the genie is totally out of the bottle.
And quite frankly, the paved road is incredibly convenient. So how do we actively protect ourselves and the next generation from just sleepwalking into this frictionless reality?
Well, the research offers a very practical framework for living well in what they call the ask era.
Okay, let's go through it. What's the first strategy?
The first and most vital strategy is introducing deliberate friction back into your life.
Deliberate friction.
Yes. You have to intentionally choose to do the hard research work yourself for high-stakes topics. Do not let a chat model handle the things that truly shape your life.
Like major medical decisions, complex financial choices.
Or deep learning in your specific professional field. You must keep the friction where you want to retain your actual expertise.
I love that concept. Choose your friction. Okay, what's the second strategy?
The second strategy is triangulation. If you are going to use an AI for a quick answer, never rely on a single smooth output for anything important.
So cross-check it.
Always cross-check the AI against another source. Run a traditional search, track down a primary document, or better yet, talk to a real human expert in the field.
Right, get a second opinion. And the third strategy.
The third strategy requires a shift in how we actually interact with the interface itself, moving from passive consumption to active inquiry.
Because right now, most people treat the chat box like a vending machine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You put a prompt in, you take an answer out, and you walk away. Instead, you should treat it like an adversarial tutor.
Ooh, an adversarial tutor. What does that actually look like in practice?
It means asking the AI to critique itself. Once it gives you an answer, follow up by asking, what is the strongest counterargument to what you just told me?
Oh, that's smart.
Or ask it, what crucial context is missing from this summary? Or where do leading experts disagree on this topic?
So you basically have to use the tool's conversational ability to actively push back against its own smoothness.
Exactly. You force the machine to reveal the messy reality that it just tried to hide from you.
That is such a powerful habit to build. Okay, and the fourth strategy.
The fourth strategy is simply cultivating the analog. We have to keep reading full physical books. We need to seek out long-form essays by eccentric, highly opinionated writers.
And have real, unstructured human conversations.
Yes. We have to experience unsummarized thought so our brains literally don't forget what the rough edges of reality actually feel like.
So to briefly recap the massive shift we've explored today, we are actively breaking a 20-year motor habit, drawn away from traditional search by the undeniable allure, the natural language, and the sheer calmness of conversational AI.
But this frictionless experience is hollowing out the open web.
Right. Starving the independent creators who actually supply the internet's knowledge and threatening our intellectual independence by quietly doing our cognitive sifting for us.
Which brings us back to one final, slightly terrifying concept hidden in the research.
Model collapse.
Model collapse. We talked about how AI needs human writers to learn.
Right, the Ouroboros.
Exactly. But if those writers disappear, and the AI continues to ingest its own perfectly smooth, synthesized answers to train the future models of tomorrow, the data loop completely closes.
The AI just starts learning from AI.
Yes. And if that happens, what happens to the rough, beautiful, messy edges of human truth?
That's the real question. I mean, in 20 years, if we rely entirely on these systems, will we even be able to recognize the difference between a messy, complex human reality and a perfectly smoothed-over AI simulation?
That isn't a question a tech company can solve for us. It is a question we will all have to answer through the daily habits we choose to build.
So the next time you find yourself walking that path in the woods, maybe take the blindfold off, look at the roots, look at the dirt, keep reading the rough stuff. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.